Thank you for checking out SNU's Contract Bank. I'm Roxanne Smithers, co-founder of Smithers & Ume Wabo. This video, we are going to discuss our Master Event Planning Agreement. This agreement is tailored for individuals who are providing event planning services for their customers. It is a master agreement so that you can not only use it with multiple clients and customers going forward, but if you have repeat customers that you do several events for, maybe on a yearly basis, you don't have to renegotiate the terms every time. You can simply have them sign this master services agreement, and then you can utilize the services schedule attachment where you can lay out the specific scope of work and details for each individual contract. And each services schedule is subject to the terms and conditions of this master agreement. So we'll take a quick look through this agreement so that you'll understand what it covers. First thing it covers, and one of the most important things, is that it details fees and expenses. It lays out how you anticipate and expect to be paid and what happens if you incur expenses that are reimbursable from your customer in the benefit of providing the services to them. Maybe you're engaging vendors that you have a special relationship with. Maybe you're purchasing supplies in advance because you are subject to discounts and you're assisting your customers in that way. This details that you will be reimbursed for those expenses as part of your services. This agreement and this provision also gives you an opportunity to require a deposit from your customer for your services. Moving along to paragraph 3, this paragraph details how your customer is supposed to provide you with approvals and instructions for their event and for their services. The point of these contracts is to make sure everyone is very clear on their rights and obligations going forward, and this helps to have a smooth relationship. Paragraph 4 details how you will handle any vendors or suppliers that you are bringing to the table or that are going to be part of bringing this event to life. Paragraph 5 deals with what happens if there is a cancellation of the event. It details how much you will be paid in such event, what happens to those vendor contracts, what happens to your expenses, your rights and obligations in the event that an event is canceled. In the same vein, paragraph 6 covers what's called force majeure or acts of God. Those are situations where by no fault of either yourself or your customer, the event is not able to go forward by an act of God or sometimes an act of government or public health issues. This paragraph details how to handle those situations and each party's rights and obligations there. Paragraph 7 covers who is responsible for procuring and making sure that there is security, if necessary, for your customer's event, as well as your vendors and your equipment. Paragraph 8 lays out how long this contract will be in place, the term, and also details how the parties can terminate the agreement, what notices need to be given, and what compensation you're entitled to. Paragraph 9 covers limitation of liability. This essentially puts a cap on the type of damages or the amount that you can be responsible for if there's a problem with your performance that causes a loss or damage to your client. Paragraph 10 covers indemnification. Indemnification is a fancy term for when one party is going to take responsibility for the damages, losses, or claims that are incurred by another party through the fault of the first party. So this provision is mutual, meaning each side agrees that if in some way they do not live up to the terms of the agreement or behave in an inappropriate way, that they will be responsible for the damages, claims, or losses that the other party suffers, with that cap in mind that we discussed in paragraph 9. Paragraph 11 and 12 make it clear that both you and your customer are free to provide services to and to seek services from other individuals. This is not an exclusive agreement. It also details that you are not an employee of your customer and that your customer is not empowered to bind you to any other contractual obligations. Paragraph 13 details the state law that will govern this contract. And this is drafted such that the state law where you, the event planner, is located and run your business is the law that will govern this contract. Paragraph 14 details what happens if the parties are unfortunately in a dispute and how that dispute will be handled. The paragraph encourages first negotiations amongst the parties, then mediation that may involve a third-party mediator. If neither of those solutions bring a resolution, the parties can then arbitrate the matter. And of course, you and your customer can agree to a different dispute resolution process if you would like. But this paragraph also details that whichever party is successful in an arbitration claim, that party will have the opportunity to recoup their legal cost. Paragraph 15 details how the parties are supposed to give notice to each other in writing, by email, by fax, or by U.S. mail and overnight mail as well. Paragraphs 16 and 17 cover how the contract will be interpreted if there is a dispute that needs to be brought to an arbitrator or a court of law. It also details that if for some reason a judge or an arbitrator determines that any provision of the contract is not enforceable, the remainder of the contract will still be in place and will still bind the parties. And then finally, paragraph 18 details that this agreement represents the full deal between yourself and your customer. Any prior communications, any prior oral offers, any discussions outside of the pages of this document are not the terms of the agreement between the parties. And so you want to make sure that everything that the parties have agreed to is laid out and detailed in this agreement. And then, of course, at the end, you will have your services schedule, which is a document that you can utilize over and over again if you have multiple contracts with your customer or as you're doing new master agreements with other customers. It provides space for you to put in the event details, the location, the time, the date, what your duties will be in terms of planning that event, how you will be paid for that event, how your vendors will be authorized and any specific vendors that you know in advance that you'll be using. And it also details payment if the event is canceled at various points before the event is supposed to occur. Now, of course, if you choose to select this contract, you will have an opportunity to download both a permanent PDF version that will allow you to utilize it and fill in the blanks, or you can download the editable version, which allows you to make modifications to the agreement as you see fit and as the parties see fit. If at any time you'd like further information about this event planning agreement, you are always encouraged to seek out a consultation with our firm. So once again, this is Roxanne Smithers for SNU's Contract Bank.